Rec League podcast. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your family, tell your haters. Available on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Radio Public, Podchaser, Good Pods, Pocket Cast, Breaker, and Stitcher. At Rec League Podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. At Rec League Pod on Twitter. Episode 71 coming soon. Yo, whether you watching this on Facebook, Twitter, click the link in my Instagram, or YouTube itself. What up, world? So I just watched Last Night in Soho. It is, I guess, what we're calling a psychological horror movie. It is starring Thomasin McKenzie, Anya Taylor-Joy, Diana Rigg, Terrence Stamp, Matt Smith, Michael Ajoya. I hope I said his name right. And it's directed by Edgar Wright. Edgar Wright is, in my opinion, like up to legendary status by now, man. He's directed Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, The World's End, and Baby Driver. And you got Thomasin McKenzie, who is a modern day college student. She gets accepted to this prestigious like fashion school in London. Her events lead her to getting her own apartment, and while in that apartment, she's taken to the 60s, where she becomes infatuated, low-key obsessed with trying to be like bar singer, and that obsession turns into tragedy that is affecting her like psychologically, and it's kind of hard to talk about any of this without spoiling it. This was supposed to come out last year, I believe September of 2020. Like I said, like Edgar Wright is one of my all-time favorite directors. He doesn't miss. He could be blindfolded with his hands over his eyes that are on the blindfold, shoot his shot and swish the basket. I love all his movies. I don't think expectations were too high, but this one doesn't quite match the level of his other five to me. Like, Shaun of the Dead is arguably one of the greatest zombie comedies ever. Hot Fuzz has like a meta appeal about it. Like, and you would never think like some badass like high octane action stuff would go down where Simon Pegg and Nick Frost end up. And then Scott Pilgrim versus the World, like, I know graphic novel, but it's like a video game. It's like a cinematic video game. It's brilliant, man. The Scott Pilgrim versus the World is amazing. The World's End is like the bar crawl, man, closing out the Cornetto trilogy. I want him to work with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost again, but maybe they agree. Cornetto trilogy and we're out. And then Baby Driver, man. Baby Driver. That if it wasn't for Scott Pilgrim, Baby Driver would be my favorite movie of his. I love everything about Baby Driver. This is like, I know I said psychological horror, man, but this is like just a murder mystery. Like, I thought going in it was gonna be a time travel murder mystery, but there's no time travel per se. I guess technically, I don't know, depending on like which goggles you watching this movie with, you could say it's time travel, but I don't think Thomasin McKenzie's character is ever literally transported to that time. She's like a fly on the wall and sees events unravel, and once she like, and there are things that I needed explanation to that we never got. Maybe I was watching it and I was too busy trying to figure out what the reasoning was for everything going down. Maybe that's why like I didn't love it like I wanted to. because the setting, the landscape, cinematography, all that is beautiful. All of that is top notch. It's everything you'd expect from an Edgar Wright movie. Like I said, the performances are great. Like Anya Taylor-Joy can actually sing. I had no idea. And it's like fashion movies are like 2 for 2 in 2021. And it's like the characters are supposed to hate, like are like hateable. They're shitty human beings. And like Thomasin McKenzie plays like this like fish out of water, not used to the big city, timid, you know, she plays that character pretty great. And there's a lot in this movie that I didn't expect, so like that's a plus. Like the resolution was very cool. But like it's like I said, it's murder mystery. Like I wouldn't call this horror. Like I never jumped. I never like got like, oh, that's spooky. But man, like with Denis Villeneuve last week, Edgar Wright is one of those directors that he's a star of the movie just as much as anybody on screen. He's on my list of, if he's releasing a new movie, I'm watching it. No questions asked. So yeah, just like what I was thinking the whole time watching, I like what I'm watching, but it feels like something's missing. I can't tell you what that something is, but it feels like it's lacking in some area. So again, like both videos this weekend, both reviews this weekend, I'm mentioning Zack Snyder and Army of the Dead. Army of the Dead, and I'm pretty sure I said it in that review, is my least favorite Zack Snyder movie. That doesn't mean it's bad. Last Night in Soho is going to end up as my least favorite Edgar Wright movie. In no way, shape, or form does that mean I'm saying that this is a bad movie. So with all that being said, man, I will say that in my opinion, Last Night in Soho is dope. Have you seen Last Night in Soho, man? What you think about it? Positive, negative, somewhere in between. Let me know. I recently put up reviews for No Time to Die, DC's Injustice, Dune, Ron's Gone Wrong. I just put up a review for Army of Thieves. Next weekend I want to watch and review Eternals. The weekend after that, Red Notice on Netflix. Rec League Podcast episode 71, recording on Halloween, talking about the Halloween franchise. Be on the lookout for that, man. Like, subscribe, comment. Find me where you find me, man. Don't know where to find me. Watch these credits. Peace.